audience available right now, Coach. I just want to do a quick sound check with to make sure that we're good, Coach.
Check.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Coach. Hey, Coach. We're live now. So, Coach, this is why I got a question for you, Coach.
What's that, Coach?
We try to do we doing all these things at one time. You know how it is. It can be rather tedious sometimes. Let me get our sound up. Testing 1 2. Testing. Now we're good. Go ahead and give me a sound check now, Coach.
Testing 1 2 3. HBCU Football Coaches Corner.
All right, Coach. We got them ready. You got them ready now, Coach. Hey, I would like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. I am your host, Rocky Miller. I want to thank y'all for coming in today. We are having a tremendous show today. We got a very special guest. We had 2 guests scheduled. However, we've had to reschedule with one of the other guests. I want to thank everybody who is here today to check us out. We know this is a very busy day, a very pivotal day in America, but we thought it was important for us to keep on our regularly schedule. Those of you guys who may be missing it live, you know you can always come back and catch the entire show based on go on YouTube and catch it recorded, Coach. But before we get started, Coach, the man you all came to see, Coach Cole. How you doing, Coach?
Great, Coach. As usual, man. Like you said, we wanted to get in there. We've been talking about the voting tonight. It's very important for who you want to vote on. And so, you know, we also want to see it too, but we also want to let our fans know how important they are to us so we can get this show in and get it on the road.
Absolutely. This was this past weekend was a pretty interesting weekend in HBCU football. Most of it was money games, like I said last week. We had some, games that what I would consider as a fan, they were interesting in the HBCU space, but they didn't give a lot of context, in my opinion, to how good these teams, especially the Division I teams, will be in the conference. Now, Let me ask you this here, Coach, because you coached on the Division II level at HBCU as well. As a lower level team and going up to play a larger or a higher division HBCU school, what are you trying to get accomplished when you know there may be a scholarship disparity? You know there may be a talent disparity. However, you know how important these intra-HBCU game, intra-division HBCU games are to your alumni and your faculty and staff.
And your pocketbook.
Yeah, and your pocketbook. So, and let me ask you this, Coach, as someone looking at it from the outside looking in, it seems that these intra-division games are very important to both schools. How important is it to the lower division school, the Tuskegees, the Savannah States, who had to go up and play the Blue Bloods of HBCU football?
Well, it's no question that this has been going on for years. Really, HBCU schools are really just now getting involved. It's a way to raise money. It's a fundraiser, and sometimes it's a fundraiser for athletic directors. So it's vital to all these small school programs, not just in HBCU, but around the United States, that they play these teams, they get money games. The thing about it is how you handle the money. Does it go straight to the football program? Does it go to the athletic program? Or does it go to the general fund? And we can get into that as well, because sometimes it goes to respectively all three, or all in one. It's important for recruiting, and that can go both ways, Rocky. It can go against you when you're playing either a state team or a team that's in your area, as opposed, I coached at Texas Southern. That's like playing Rice, University of Houston, which is right across the street. to me, those are non-games. Why I wouldn't play them? One, I won't get the money. Two, most likely they're gonna beat me, and they're gonna beat me with a large number. And three, it's right in my backyard where I need to recruit it. You know what I mean? So right now, I'm going for some of the players they're going for because I'm gonna recruit the best like they gonna recruit the best. But when they can show that we don't beat you 70-0, 58-0, I think it's a lose-lose. And the lose-lose is also losing the money. Really, how much money will they pay? So me, if I'm Texas Southern, I'm asking for an astronomical price. Give me $1 million. Yeah, you across the street, but I'm losing more than just a game. I'm leaving. So give me $1 million. Now, if you give me $1 million, 800,000 you're rich, Rice, you giving me, 800 now. Then now that's a win-win for me. So it's a lot to go with it. And I think, and when I was looking back, and we'll talk about it a little later, some of these games that these small teams was taking, they shouldn't have took. They should have just stayed at home. So that's kind of the basics of it.
Can you speak to the intra HBCU battles, like the Tuskegees versus the Grambling, right, the Savannah States versus Southern? Do you see any value in those games?
Well, the only value I see is for the Southerns in the Grambling States. Sometimes I guess the Savannahs, it depends on how much they gave you. You know what I mean? If they gave you anything under 50,000, I don't see it being a big token, because now I got to travel up there. Now, if they gave me 50 buses and hotels, then you got to be strategic. If they gave me 50 and then I got to spend 10 to travel, then I'm walking away with 40,000. But if a Savannah don't draw it home, you know what I'm saying? If a Tuskegee, which I know draws it home, to me that's not a good game to take.
Yeah, I looked at it like this, Coach. I coming from somebody who does not necessarily understand the HBCU culture the same way that you do, I look at the game just from a competitive standpoint. How does a Grambling get better playing a Tuskegee? How does a Southern get better playing a Savannah State? And then ultimately, do you come out of those games with some false confidence, some false reality of who you are as a team? I would think they would be better served taking another FCS opponent that's nearby, maybe a Nickel State. Do kind of what Prairie View did, play a Northwestern or something like that, so that you get a competitive game that you can really gauge how your team will perform, possibly in a conference matchup. That's what. Go ahead.
Well, times have changed now. It's about who you beat, not who you play. So and now you're getting some of these 2-year contracts. You know what I mean? And if I could play a bunch of losers or losing programs and win and come out 7-4, lose 4 conference games, I'm fine. The fans are fine, I'm fine, and win your Labor Day Classic. But like I told you before, it's more on the Division II team of getting some out of the game than actually the 1A team or the 1AA team playing a lower team.
Coach, let me ask you something directly. I'm going to ask you directly. Does TC Taylor get a feather in his cap for beating up on Lane?
No, sir. Not for Jackson State.
I
don't even think they raised the money or people came to even see the game up here. No, he don't. I mean, he done what he's supposed to do. It was a good warm-up game for him. He bounced off of a bad loss, and now he's got a good loss and got his team going in the right direction. I can say that.
So does Mickey Joseph get a feather in his cap by getting his first program victory at Grambling by beating up on Tuskegee?
I don't think so. I think people got larger expectations for Coach Joseph from his background. Again, but for Grambling, they can get in there and they can clean up some of the mistakes, and start all back over. But no, I don't think so. Neither one of those teams.
And last but not least, does a school like a blue blood program like Southern and their first year head coach Terrence Graves, does he get a feather in his cap for beating up on Savannah State?
I think for him, uh, to an extent that, you know, everybody's the question mark about can he get the job done. I think this is a win-win for him. Uh, of course, when you've seen the stands and seen the game, a lot of people really didn't come to the game. You know, it was Oakland. But I thought for him winning, because, you know, a lot of times people don't care about who you play, just as long as you win. So in his situation, I think it was a win-win for Southern. And it depends on how much money they gave Savannah State to come up there and play in the Pete Richardson Classic. I think it's a win for them as well.
Okay, and let's jump over to the MEAC just for a second. If you look at the MEAC opponents that they had, Morgan played Townsend, South Carolina played Citadel, and North Carolina State played Elon. Of course, South Carolina State picked up a victory. North Carolina Central and Morgan State took tough losses in those intra-division games. You know, very competitive games, but ultimately they came up on the short end of the stick. Which one? I think I know where you're going with this, Coach. Which approach you think is most valuable in the long term, regardless of the outcome of the game? Which approach is more beneficial in the long term for the programs and for the team as a whole?
Well, you know, of course, you know, you get a feather in your cap if you beat any PWI. You know, because in the past we hadn't been real good at beating PWI. I think it keeps you on track as a team, and you can measure where you are. I think it's a good learning film that they can come in and find out, you know, where our mistakes is, where we're weak at. So I think it's a good win. But then again, Coach, my philosophy is I don't play those teams that's around me. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna play a PWI, I'm gonna play one away, not in my vicinity. Because again, to me, it comes down to recruiting as well. So I can't recruit the same players as Townsend and Elon and then play them and then get beat. You know, I just don't. I don't see that. But I see that those guys in the mid, those guys are some good coaches, and they want to play teams at their levels to make sure that they don't fall off, don't get no false accusation on who they are as a team. So I give my put my feather cap of all those guys. Hopefully, but I know Morgan and Townsend are in the same area, you know. So Coach Damian up there, hopefully, you know, he played a good football game against them. It was close, but you know, at the end of the day, it's about winning football games.
Hey, Coach, we have our featured guest. He's jumped on with us. I was been waiting on him to turn on his camera, but maybe he may not have audio or whatever. But I'd like to give you that this time to go ahead and introduce our featured guest for today.
Guys, with no further ado, it's a guy I met at Fort Scott Junior College. He was a young coach, but he had all the ability in the world. He's a good student of the game. He's on fast track. He just got his first head coaching job at Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, Division II program. I think this young man is going places, and I always told him just wait your turn, wait your turn. And he finally got that head job. He's been an offensive coordinator at Fort Scott, as well as at Coahoma Junior College. I think his best football in front of him as a coach and as a head coach is ahead of him. My friend, my dear, I'm gonna call him my student, Moses Harper.
What's up, ball coach?
Look at you, boy. Look at you. You're head coach now. You get your little grades by your old pop here. And man, I'm glad that you had an opportunity to come on and visit with me. You know, you didn't big boy me. You know, we get big boys sometimes, don't we, Rock? But
Yeah,
everybody that come on this show, they bounce higher. Is that right, Coach?
Yeah. Sometimes I appreciate you coming on, Coach Harper. A lot of times you guys that in those head coaching spots are too busy to give us a little time, and I appreciate you guys taking time out in season to come and have a conversation with us, give an opportunity to highlight your program, tell us about who you are, and where your program is going. Because we, Coach Cole, created this platform to highlight guys like you who may not have the platform to showcase your skills, the ability to communicate where your program is headed in front of the HBCU, a large HBCU audience. But this platform gives a guy like you, Coach Harper, an opportunity to showcase your skills to the HBCU audience. And for that, we've had men here come on this show without jobs, and a couple weeks later end up with jobs.
Yeah. Well, listen, I need to get on it. First, learn how to turn the camera on, man. You got to get used to these type of interviews, but you're trying to feature you can't turn your camera on. I got to get this shit.
Well, I get these GAs in here working this thing. I forgot to slide the little button over on here to get the camera going. But I appreciate all you guys do. And then first, thanks for having me to speak about my program. And Coach, we go way back, and we still talk, and we still talk football to this day. A lot I've learned in this business come from you, with you, Rocky. Thought the Bishop was going to be on, but it's all good. But I really appreciate this opportunity to be here and share whatever it is. I'm an open book. There's no secrets in football. You got to get the Jimmys and Joes and then figure the X's and O's out so they can execute it. So
now you did right. See, he did right as head coach. He blamed it on the GA. Make sure you holler at him now. You got to holler at him. But Coach, it's your first year up, man. A lot of people don't know where Lincoln University is in Jefferson City, Missouri. They're not big on winning football programs. You in an uphill battle trying to change not only just the football program, but attitudes around there. What are some of the things you have done to move that team towards just that? You haven't even got to the field yet. You guys played your first game last week, but there was a whole bunch of other things that you had to put in place.
Well, the first thing I try to challenge everybody in the community and on campus. I'm old school Mississippi boy, and I think it takes a village, and the village is this campus, from the president down to the custodian workers. So everybody that's important to these kids and deal with these kids on a day-to-day basis, I need them to be positive. I can't have the kids come down for 2 or 3 hours in practice, and then when they leave to go to the cafeteria, somebody's like, y'all gonna win this week? Y'all gonna do something next week? That's not being positive. So I challenge everybody to, if you see these kids, be positive around them. We start our meeting off every day with my kids saying they're amazing, and I follow with, yes, you are, because I want these kids to know they are amazing. You're a great opportunity to get an education, great opportunity to play this game we love to play. Not everybody gets this opportunity. So I want them to understand that they are amazing to be in this situation that they're in. And the uphill battle, to be honest, Lincoln University is a HBCU. But I'll be honest, I feel like we the light-skinned cousin at the family reunion trying to prove to everybody that we Black. So, but to say that this is the most diverse HBCU you could probably go to, I look at that as a good thing, because my supporters look like me, and there's also some heavy supporters who don't look like me. So the checks come in green. That's all I'm worried about. So I try to get those people on board to believe in what we're doing. As you can see, I had a hashtag DAT. That's what this program stands for. That means discipline, accountability, and toughness. All three of those things are attention to detail. It doesn't take much to be disciplined. The discipline part is, what did you do the night before to prepare for the next day? If you knew you had 6 a.m. wakes, what'd you do to get prepared for it? Now, if you be disciplined, you can hold your teammates accountable. Now, if I'm holding my teammates accountable, now I can yell at them. I can get after them because I expect them to give the same effort that I'm going to give every day. And the toughness part, this is a collision sport. We all play this game. We know this game is physical. But the main thing, Coach, Those three things are all self-aware and self-imposed. That has nothing to do with me coaching. If you can do those things, I think you can be on the right track to try to be successful.
Tell us some things that a lot of people didn't know Lincoln was a HBCU, but there are some things that you have on campus as at a Division II program of telling people to send your kids there. What are some of those positive things about Lincoln University and you guys football program?
Well, Lincoln was actually founded by the 62nd, 65th Infantry soldiers in the Civil War. It was actually a few black soldiers wanted to get their education, and they found a location. They wanted to start their education here, and they had a few white soldiers who kind of snuck them in the back way for they could get some things going. And then Abraham Lincoln kind of put his stamp on it. So we have a great monument right in the center of campus of those black soldiers. I actually took a picture with my freshmen there when they got on campus August 6th. In there, I took a freshman picture because I sent it out to their parents, and I want their parents to take that picture because in 4 years I want them to take that same picture in their cap and gown, because that's the most important uniform you can wear on any campus. So if you get your education and get that degree, that's the most successful thing you can do here at Lincoln University. But we sit right in the capital, Jefferson City, Missouri, a smaller campus, a smaller D2. We compete in the GLVC. We just got into the GLVC conference. So this is a great place. I believe you can come here and get the HBCU background, also get a diversity feel for what you'll see in the real world. So we sell ourselves on those points. And to be honest, our kids, they have every Divine Nine here on campus. So my kids pledge. They're part of fraternities, sororities, and everything is here. So you can get that HBCU feel here. Also, you can get the real world feel here as well.
You said the GVC. Is that the Great Valley Conference?
Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Great Lakes Valley Conference.
Yep. So it's been made up. So this conference, if you're familiar with the MIAA, it's probably one of the tougher D2 conferences in the Midwest. A lot of the schools here were high academic institutions who kind of didn't keep up with the Jones when it came to facilities. So everybody started branching off. So this conference is pretty much based out of Missouri. And then we have a team where we compete with in Iowa and Indianapolis. But for budget-wise, a lot of my games are within 2 to 3 hour radius. So I get a lot of people at the games because my games are here at noon or 1 o'clock, and people come out and watch. The fans can get here at a decent hour and still get back home at a decent hour as well.
Coach, tell me why, if I had a son and people watching, or we got people that get into recruiting and all that. Tell us why should our kid come to that particular HBCU?
Well, do you want to be around somebody who can elevate, who can motivate? All my coaches are more worried about the success of the kids than they are themselves. And you look at the people that you are around. If the person, like you said, where I started out, and you remember we was both in center block walls and staring at the ceiling like, how did we get here? So you look for people who put in the hard work and they actually elevate themselves in their career, and they out to try to do things. But you want to be around somebody that's family oriented, somebody that's going to push your child and not going to give it to them easy, especially in a why or yes world that we live in today. This is still a program. You're going to have to tuck your shirt in. You have to cover your back flap up. We wear white socks in practice. We do all the little things in detail. You got long hair, you got to trim it up, you got to pin it up. It's got to look nice and neat. So those are the details and what we try to build here in this program. So if you want a young man, send your young man in Lincoln, and that's what we'll build him and get a degree, and he'll move on in life.
I can't say enough, Rocky, about Coach Harper and him being a father and having two. Now you just had two twins, didn't you, Coach? So I call him on the phone. We talking football. He got one in his hand. They crying. I'm like, hey, Coach, you're fathering and you're coaching at the same time. So I let everybody know how great of a father he is and how great of a student of the game he is. It was just so much of a pleasure for me meeting him up in Fort Scott. I'm like, how did this guy end up in Fort Scott, Kansas? He he was a player himself. He played basketball and football as well, didn't you, Coach?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
So I played in a small school in this actually 45 minutes from Jeff City, a school called Central Methodist University. I had some opportunities to go places to play football and play basketball alone. But, to me, Division I or that never like enticed me to say that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go somewhere and major what I wanted to major in and do what I love to do. And they gave me an opportunity to play basketball, play football. I was part of 2 winning programs there in the Hall of Fame in basketball. And then not only that, they gave me an opportunity to start my coaching career. So I tipped my hat. And so now being back in this area, I'm familiar with this Mid-Mo area because this is where I went to school. I was actually telling my offensive line coach today, next year this time, I've been to spend more time in Missouri than I did in Mississippi growing up. So that's how long I've been here. So I built friends and family here. My kids are from this area. My wife is from this area. So this is my home. This is family to me.
Now, Coach, you're going to have to take the Lincoln University now. You're going to have to get out of the Midwest and come on down south and play some of your mother schools, so everybody can know who Lincoln is. How I knew Lincoln was my brother done played at Central State, and they used to play Lincoln all the time. Then my best friend, Michael Worthy, who you'll meet on homecoming, he actually went to school there and started all 4 years from his freshman year. So do you guys have any HBCU games on your schedule?
Yeah, well, that was the beauty of getting out of MIAA because it opened up our schedule. This year we played Lincoln, California for homecoming out of California, and then we also.
Hey, Coach,
go ahead.
That was I thought was the homecoming school. I thought that's who when Coach was bragging on the guy who coaching at Lincoln, he was talking about he's outstanding. I say, well, why would he take the homecoming job if he was so good? Like Lincoln, California is like Sycamore Dairy or the Washington Generals. They play everybody on homecoming, and I wonder, do they have any home games?
You got to excuse Rocky. He's just getting into this HBCU thing. There's 3 Lincoln University, maybe more, but 2 of them black. One in Pennsylvania, and this one in Jefferson City.
Yeah, and that was an
ahead,
HBCU as well, but they don't play They don't play any home games. They play all away games. Yeah. They take the money. They take money for away games, and they go on the road and play. We'll play them for homecoming. We also have Lane College on the schedule this year. Okay. And then I'm actually in the works of working with some other people now to add a 3rd HBCU game next year because we picked up Northeastern State out of Oklahoma, who we've normally played out of the MIAA. But after this next couple of years, we're gonna move on from that contract.
Hey, Coach, as a guy who coaches at a smaller HBCU, actually outside of the footprint of traditional HBCUs, do you have to do anything more as a coach to market and possibly advertise that you're an HBCU? And furthermore, do you have to be more open in the players that you recruit?
Yeah, well, to be honest, HBCU or not, it's still small college football. Small college football, you got to fundraise. You got to find a way to make $1. If the last head coach bought too many helmets, well, if you ain't gonna do that, you're gonna start a tradition. Start selling them helmets and start making some money. So you got to do whatever you could do to bring the dollar in. I've been very fortunate to work at some PWI Division II programs that had a lot of money, and some who showed me how to go out and get the money from the community. So working around those schools, when I got in this seat, I knew I had to hit the ground running and just get out and meet the local people, and with not so much tradition or winning here. It's hard when you walk in the door and people like, why are you different? So you just got to get the people believe in the vision. I got everybody in the community wearing DA t-shirts. The biggest thing, I got everybody wearing Moses Harper football camps on their chest in the neighborhood. So everybody's kind of buying in, and everybody's looking forward to what we're trying to do and continue to build this program.
Coach, me and you talked, and we had some real passionate talks when you was a young coach coming through. I know I gave you hell sometimes, you know. Now you're sitting there, man, you know, and you deserve to sit there. How do you feel about being a head coach, being in the situation you are, and what you look further for in your career?
Oh,
Have you pinched yourself yet and say, man, I'm the guy?
a few times, you know, and it starts with the days when you go sit in certain meetings and they wait for your input because hey, you got to say something. I've been in some meetings, but I've just sat in the corner. Or when you walk out on the field, the referee's got to come up and talk to you because you got the challenge flag in your pocket. So yeah, sometimes you know your mind get a little overwhelming, but the opportunity, I feel like I've worked for it. Did I see myself being here when I played them last year? I did not. But networking in my career has allowed me to be here today because I knew some people who were in my corner who spoke very highly of me. And then when it came down to competing on an interview, I did the best I could. And then they felt like I could get this program rolling. So I still pinch myself every day, Coach, and make sure, hey, this is the real deal.
Hey, Coach, through my journey in learning about this education that I'm getting about HBCU football, and I'm learning about all these amazing guys who coach. You said the word small college football. I'll say coach football at small schools, however you want to say it, Coach. When you're navigating in your journey, what are your individual goals as you ascend through the coaching ranks? You know, do you have individual goals, or do you just, you know, try to do? I hear coaches have two things. They have aspirations and they do want to be head coaches like you do, like you are, and then there are other gentlemen who say, "Hey, I just try to do the best job where I am, and if those positions, if those opportunities present themselves, fine. But if not, I'm gonna be the best D-line coach. I'm gonna be the best coordinator. I'm gonna be the best special teams coach." What's your approach from a career standpoint about and growth about coaching?
Well, I always try to focus where my feet are. Wherever I've been, I always try to leave it better than I found it. However that looks, if that I recruited NFL players at a place I left and they're doing well, I've recruited kids that graduated and they moved on and they're doing well. So wherever I go and plant my feet, I try to make it the best way I can. And to answer that, to be honest, I have to reset my goals every year. I've been very fortunate and blessed because when Coach met me, he told me you were going to be the next offensive coordinator. I told him I wasn't ready. And the next thing you know, I was the next OC at the #1 offense that first year. So you never know what people see in you. Just keep resetting your goals because I wanted to be a coordinator by the time I was 32. I was a coordinator by the time I was 25. So when the opportunity presents itself, you just got to take it by the reins and go because you never know when it's coming and what you had to prepare yourself for. So I'm resetting those goals now, Rock, because they got to be new ones. But I know we got to put a product on the field right now to compete, get people to keep their butts in the seats for 4 quarters, to get these kids to believe in themselves that they can compete to win football games.
Rocky, I used to give him hell, Rock. We used to go to the bar and we'd be having a little cold one, and we get the draw. I get the draw stuff. Go ahead, Coach. You tell me.
I tell that story to this day. Rock, we're sitting at a bar. It's called Sharky's in Fort Scott, Kansas.
The only bar.
We're sitting at the bar. I'm young, a young football coach, and I was a receiver in college. So I'm trying to learn the run game. And so I always, every time you see me, I'm sitting somewhere, I'm drawing on a napkin or something because it's football all the time. And I drew something and I wasn't sure. So I tried to ball it up and hide it. Coach Cole asked me, he said, "Let me see it." I said, Coach, it's just a little inside zone I'm trying to draw. I give him the napkin. He hollered, "Man, what is this?" Coach, that was the night I learned in the run game, you got to have a hat for a hat. I don't care how many, what you got, and when you get it going, and when you're going to run the football, you got to have a hat for a hat. Coach, I got plenty of stories. Plenty of stories we can go over days for days. But those days right there motivated me to be better. You know, Coach Cole was the one who let me do practice scripts, game cards, organize the film, like everybody else will look at it like, oh, you're doing grunt work. But I took it as this opportunity for him to teach me to be who I could be. And when he left me, he said, "You ready?" I said, "Well, coach, I don't know if I'm ready." He said, "Well, coach, who breaks down the film? Who does the game card? Who does the practice scripts?" He said, "Coach, you've done everything but call it in the game. So here's your shot."
And I can't say enough about those, because I told you guys about 2 shows ago, Rocky, how much football is egotistical game, And one thing about Coach Moses, he was a sponge. He never took anything personal, and I never attacked him personal because he knew and found out who I was first and foremost of what my intentions were. And hopefully, I know he has passed it on, because that's how we make it in this business. But I knew Coach would be successful. I know this is just the beginning point. I'm not running you away from Lincoln yet, and I ain't even gonna ask you, what's after Lincoln, because you've already told us that you got your feet down the cement there because you want to make it and give it your all. So we're gonna continue to focus. Who you guys got next week, Coach?
We play McKendree University out of Illinois. Will be an experienced team. They had some shakeup there. Their head coach stepped down and took an opportunity at UCLA off the field. So the defensive coordinator is a good friend of mine. I've been knowing him for years. He stepped into the interim head coach role. They're coming off a loss from West Florida. So they'll be hungry coming in here. It's our first home game. Will be at night. I don't think, and the beauty about today was our first practice back. Our kids came back with a lot of energy, motivation to get back at it, because they don't feel like they showed our fan base who they really are this season. And we didn't play very well last week. And there's some other things that goes into that, but you control what you can control. And these kids know me. I'm gonna show up to work every day. I'm gonna show up to work every day, and I want them to give me everything, because I'm gonna bring everything.
Well, Coach, I know you're busy, and we're gonna let you get off of here and get back to, but we want to bring you back later on in the season. We know you've been just beginning, and when you reel off that 3-4-0, we definitely gonna have to have you back. Okay?
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Coach Harper. Look forward to talking to you again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Take care.
Oh man, that's a great interview by Coach Moses Harper of Lincoln College in Jefferson City, Missouri. Coach Cole, your tentacles throughout coaching run are crazy, and it's amazing to me every time we have these conversations, Coach Cole, is how big of an impression that you've made on other coaches, both young and old. We've had a number of times on here where guys have said you're one of the most, successful coaches, one of the most brilliant offensive minds, and how you share knowledge freely. Let me ask you this here, Coach, because this is just a question. Why you never felt it necessary to kind of gatekeep the knowledge that you have, your secret sauce? Why are you so willing to share it with other coaches for the betterment of their career?
Man, I got the darnest mother, man. Raised in a Church of Christ church, and and being the youngest of 9, she's always had me on her hip. And we were raised in the church, and the old saying, Jesus, if you slap this jaw, then turn the other. I can remember a time when I was actually in college, and I would call mom. I'm like, Mom, these guys don't even know the plays. You know what my mom would say? We're teaching the plays. And I'm like, Mom, I'm learning myself. She said, well, did you do what I said? I said, yes, Mom. I took my playbook and I put it up underneath my pillow while I sleep at night. She said, yeah, so your mind and your playbook will come together. So I just been, first of all, I'm blessed. I'm blessed 8 times with 8 siblings that love me to death. And I don't know. I hear it a lot. Oh, Cole, you should You this information you should sell. You should sell. I don't know, man. I just that's my mentality, and it's kind of my downfall too, Rocky, of having my circle too big, and some people in there just like Judith was on the Lord's Supper table. It's the same principle, you know. The guy told on Jesus, didn't he? Jesus went on through the process. Some of the things that I've opened my friendship in my circle have been jabbing me in the corner left and right. So it's okay. You know what I mean?
You know,
Okay.
the interesting thing, Coach, is I know close firsthand, knowing how willing you are to help people. When you and my wife became friends, and then she told you what I had an interest in doing, and you know, we could have went with the Johnny Cole YouTube channel, and you were like, "No, we'll just keep it on your channel. If there's anything to become of it, we'll just share in the prosperity of it."
That's right.
And though, you know, we have a pretty decent following, but I'm so happy, Coach, that through our connection with one another and you sharing the HBCU audience with me, you know what I mean? You come to a situation where you're able to get an opportunity that not many people get in the HBCU space. You're actually a pioneer when you talk about an ex-coach or former coach being a broadcaster. So I think in certain ways, and this will also, you know, ring true in my life as well. I may not get the blessing that I wanted, but I still got a blessing nonetheless. And I see you in that same situation with HBCU Go and being a broadcaster for them. And Coach, moving forward, Coach, I don't know why in my head, this may be crazy to me. You may not even you may not even agree with me, Coach, but I believe you haven't seen your last day on the sideline, Coach, for some crazy reason. I don't believe you've seen your last day on the sideline because of everything that I've heard when we go to Clark, Atlanta, when we go to the SWAC MEAC Challenge, when I go to the Orange Blossom Classic, and people tell me stories and share with me things about you that I don't even know. So, Coach, if all of this knowledge and wisdom and success is out there, there are plenty of people in the HBCU space and in the football space in general that need your support. And so, I just wanted to say this, you know, Coach, thank you. I'm glad that you bring up your guys that you've helped, that you have relationships with to come and talk with us, because I think it means a lot. It shows where a man can share freely the knowledge and wisdom that he has, and he doesn't have to worry about somebody taking something from him, whatever. Because I'm like you, once God bless you or give it to you, can't nobody take it from you.
That's right, Coach. That's right. I appreciate you, Coach. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get back to football.
Yeah, Coach. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent, Coach, but every time I'm just amazed at how impactful you've been in the game of HBCU football, and how sometimes you're very humble a lot of times about what you've done and how much success you've had. And so I'm always surprised each and every time I come up against somebody and they tell me something that you've done that I wasn't even aware of, or you hadn't even shared with me. All right, guys, we're gonna go over the games this week, and we're gonna go over the MEAC games last week. Then we're gonna go over the MEAC game next week. We're gonna go over the SWAC games this week, last week, go over the SWAC games next week, and we're gonna get y'all out of here, Coach. As we said before, Coach, we mentioned that South Carolina beat the Citadel. You know, go ahead.
That's big win for South Carolina State. That just shows you where Chennisberry is. That shows you what type of coach he is. If you passed up on Chennisberry, you passed up on a great coach. And I see Chennisberry going some places. Right out the gate, he beat a PWI. Right out the gate, He takes the #1 HBCU team to the wire. He talked the talk. He's walking the walk. Great win for South Carolina State. Look for them to make a run.
And just to look into the inside the numbers a bit, Coach, a quarterback that you spotted and you said that was a solid quarterback, Eric Phoenix. You said he was solid when you laid eyes on him the first time, and he's proven to be that guy, Coach. He was 18 for 23 for 194 yards and 1 touchdown. Didn't have any turnovers. And of course, you know what Coach Berry likes to do. He likes to run that. He likes to run that thing. So, and the running back Duhart,
The real deal, Coach.
Yeah,
He the real deal now. And I'm telling you, when you can run the ball like that, it makes throwing that much easier.
Now, Coach, we're gonna move on to the next game, and this one kind of surprised me, Coach, because I thought Norfolk, after seeing them, we saw them in person, we saw how big and dominant they looked in the first half against Florida A&M, but they were in a tussle this weekend, Coach, with Virginia State. How can you make this make sense, Coach?
Well, the Virginia State is one of the top tier Blue Prize Division II programs over there in the CIAA. Got a great coach in Coach Frazier, great athletic department. They push football. They got 36 scholarships, so they come to play, and it should surprise me because I still think Norfolk should have dominated this game, except they were in the dogfight, And once again, when you look at Norfolk stat wise, you got to look at those numbers. You know what I'm saying? They had 257 as a team in rushing. How much is passing? 210.
Yeah.
Which was a lot better, but that interception ratio, the 2 touchdown passes, gotta get better.
Okay, Coach. Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. That I expected more out of Norfolk, but it looked like they had a really good statistical game. Now this game kind of got away from Trey Oliver real early. They came back and made a push in the second half and made it sort of respectable. I'm gonna look inside the numbers and see, can you explain this, Coach? You're really good with looking at the stats and kind of telling the story of the game. This may be the story of the game right here, Coach. And I'm gonna try to zoom it in.
Turnovers, Coach. You ain't got to show me turnovers. You can't have 3 turnovers early in the game, and keep the defense on his heels. Elon is not a bad program. They are a good football program. And off those one of those interceptions, they actually scored off those interceptions. So he started off in a hole. I think they had North Carolina Central on his heels from out the gate. It was hard for them to get things back together, but once they done, it was too far out in front. And definitely, just like Alabama State ran the ball on North Carolina Central, Elon had a lot of success. So they got a senior football team over there. So they showed it, not the year for North Carolina Central to beat Elon.
Well, let me say this here, Coach. You mentioned that after you looked at the stats and kind of reviewed the game, you said, hey, in the second half, though the script looked good that they were running against Alabama State the first game in OBC, you mentioned that in the second half, didn't look like the quarterback was as effective. With a game like this, with a bad first half, with a bad second half in the OBC, and it looks like Walker Harris struggled in this game, at what point do you start getting concerned about your quarterback play? Once you've had a half and then a whole game where it looks like Walker Harris struggled.
His numbers as far as from a completion attempt looks good, 16 of 24. So he's in the high 50s. But the That's too many interceptions. And then when the quarterback's throwing it, he loses his confidence. And so they kind of, as you can see, took the game out of his hand and probably ran the ball a lot more. Look at time of possessions as well. It's at the bottom. It's at the bottom.
Okay.
All right. Go down a little bit more.
See, I don't see
Okay,
it.
I'm sorry.
I don't see the team stats.
And it should have had a time
Let me go to team stats. I go to team stats. Go ahead, Coach. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Time of possession, 37 minutes. They had the ball almost 40 minutes to North Carolina Central's 22. That'll let you know who was in control of the game at all times. And if you really see it, the game got away, from North Carolina Central early. So then when you came out the second half, you tried to start throwing the football, but it's a little too late.
Now let me say this. This is kind of weird to me, and maybe you can explain this, Coach. Neither team had really good third down efficiency, though they had pretty decent rushing yards, though Elon had pretty decent rushing yards. With that kind of third down efficiency, is that a goal for your defense? Do you look at that as being a positive for your defense, or you still just gave up way too many yards?
Really, Elon is right where you want to be. You want to be at 40%. And Elon was 3 for 9. So they right there at about 38, 39.
Oh, okay.
So you want to be at 40%. Also being coached that a lot of times you went in third down situations. You know what I mean? You were moving the football. It don't necessarily mean that you was in third down. So 3 for 9 is great. Whenever they were in that, they were able to get the first down, as opposed to North Carolina Central 3 for 11. So when you look at the score and see how bad it was, you could see that 3 of the turnovers that North Carolina Central lost, and you usually get between 13 and 16 possessions, that takes away from that. So when you look at 3 for 11, and then 3 of those was interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 14 possessions right there. They only had 2 other possessions that they actually got a first down or third down, or they went in a third down situation. So
this is what's interesting. North Carolina Central kind of fought their way back in the game. It was 27-13, and Walker Harris throws a 40-yard touchdown, a pick six. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that kind of unravels their entire day right there in the fourth quarter. But again, you're now. How does this play in the game? Now, I don't know how. As a coach, I don't know how you guys think about this. But when you have that kind of performance at home, does that? Because at home you're not dealing with any crowd noise. You know what I mean? Does that concern you having that kind of performance at home?
No, once again, it's not a counter game. Once again, it is a local game that you want to win because we're recruiting the same players. It gives you a measuring stick of where you are. North Carolina State, they still got to play Norfolk. They still got to play South Carolina State. So that MEAC is going to be a real tough conference coming out of it.
So
North Carolina State, you got to lick their wounds. Coach Trey Oliver is the greatest coach he is. He'll go back and he'll have to get his players in place and see what he's doing and where he needs to improve at in his football program.
Okay, we'll move on to this next game. But before we do that, I want to ask you one question, Coach. With a loss like this, will this affect their standings as the number 1 team in HBCU football?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because a lot of teams lost, and you know how we see PWI teams. Unfortunately, We got to see that because we don't have a consistency of beating them all the time. So when we do play one, it seems to go unnoticed.
Okay, Coach. Moving to this game, Morgan State and Towson State. Doesn't look like there was much offense to speak of in this game, considering the amount of points that was scored. But it looks like, for whatever reason, Morgan State was able to play pretty much mistake-free football. They just weren't able to generate much offense against Towson. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, that's a neighborhood. That's a neighborhood game. For both of them in the Baltimore area, it's good rivalry. Coach Daniel Wilson, always got that great defense, but he got to improve offense. I've always said when you play one double A football, Rocky, you got to score points. Those opportunities. I was there when I was at Tennessee State. I averaged over 35, 36, 39 one year, 38 another year. You got to be able to score points. And if you don't, sometimes it's going to be tough on you. Here you got a 14-9 close game. They jumped out early on Coach them again. When you look at possession, guy was great throwing the football, 21 for 28. So that means he was throwing a lot of little darts, nothing down the field, just keeping the chain going. I guarantee you, when you look at third down, where they were, I bet it was a good average. Go to team. And there we go, 21 first downs, 3 for 9, right at 40%. Morgan State was 4 for 12. They wasn't where you're supposed to be at. That means they wasn't moving the ball, and they were giving.
But they were at 33%. Yeah, 33%.
Yeah. So they wasn't where they should be, Coach.
And then they were over 2 on fourth down. That's almost like 2 turnovers right there.
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir.
And the main thing that surprised me, Coach, like these numbers kind of surprised me. I would expect the Damian Wilson-led team to be able to run for more rushing yards than that. And they had plenty of attempts. It wasn't like they didn't have attempts, but they could only muster 2.5 yards average. So
and I'll tell you about first downs right there. 2.5 yards, 3 of them give you what? 7.5. That means you're short 2.5 for a first down. So you end up doing what? Punting.
And they did all of this, and Towson had 2 turnovers. So that and they led the team. Other than being able to run the ball, Morgan State did what you want to do to win a football game. They didn't have any turnovers.
They control the ball too.
They control the ball, and unfortunately, they were able to come away with the victory. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. All right, let me go back to. But yeah, that was that game right there, Coach. And then the last one. This is one we thought that wouldn't be a game at all. We thought this was going to be clear-cut domination, and wow, Howard really, it was really a game, Coach.
That's a big victory. That's a big victory for Howard.
Really?
Oh yeah, big victory, man. Again, when you play those PWIs. There's always that opportunity that they're going to beat you. I hate to say it, but history shows that. So with Howard taking advantage of those opportunities, man, I kind of take my hat off to him. It looks like their quarterback threw the ball pretty well on Howard. But Howard was able to control the ball on the ground. And that's what wins championship. Good running game and good defense.
Let me see. Howard, once you looked at the running stats, you expected them to dominate time of possession.
Yeah.
But this right here is probably from Coach Scott. This is probably something he would like to have corrected, these penalties as well. And neither team threw an interception. And each Mercyhurst had 2 turnover loss, and then Howard had won. So, like I say, this was a pretty up and down game for both teams. I believe that the best team won, but it was just surprising that Mercyhurst was so competitive. All right, that's surprising. Let's look at the games next week for the MEAC, and then we'll move on to the SWAC.
It's about time for the MEAC to start playing each other a little bit, getting into the meat of their schedule, or do they have 2 more weeks?
I think they have. They don't start till October, Coach. They don't
Okay.
start till the first part of October.
So they still warming, getting warmed up.
Yeah. Let me see next week's games. Week 3. Man, we already at week 3. So we got Delaware State and Wagner, Coach.
Delaware State. Playing Wagner, I got Wagner.
Okay. We got old Morehouse traveling from Atlanta over to D.C.
Ain't a chance. Howard, big.
Okay. We got Morgan State going back to your old stomping grounds in Ohio.
Ohio, 2 touchdowns.
I don't have no disagreements on any of your picks at this point. Now, this is where I think we may disagree on this one. I'm gonna take I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna take Hampton on this one, going to Norfolk.
I'm gonna take Norfolk because Hampton don't have a true head coach. They still working with an interim. Coach Borkins over there. I take my hat off to him. But those kids don't know what the future look like. Hopefully he can pull them together. I got Norfolk.
And then to round it out, we got 2 money games, Coach. Well, no. These ain't money games. I mean, this one is a money game. North Carolina Central and North Carolina. We know that's a money game. And then South Carolina and Georgia Southern. What do you think there, Coach?
Close, but I'm gonna go with Georgia Southern by 10.
Okay, I got you there too, Coach. We in lockstep. Other than this game, I got Hampton. And let me tell you why, Coach. Is that Hampton, in my opinion, has played better competition. Oh, well, maybe not. Because Virginia Union is a D2 as well, huh?
Yes, but it's one of the best now. You can't sleep on Virginia State nor Virginia Union.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We definitely will see. Let's look at the SWAC last week. And the SWAC made some money last week, Coach. They made some money. You hear me? They got down with it last week. It was all about the Benjamins last week, Coach. All about the Benjamins.
You got them up for this week.
No. I ain't switched to the SWAC yet.
Okay.
All right, this week. So anything, Coach, here that sticks out to you, Miami and Florida A&M, that is what it is. Mercer and Bethune-Cookman, did you expect that outcome, Coach?
Well, we chose that one. We chose Mercer over Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
Mercer's a good program. Don't go by the name, but you look at their history, they always have had right there 500 or better football team.
Now, this is a D2, D1 matchup right here between Miles and Alabama State. We thought Alabama State would win, but I want to look in the numbers and see what they got out of their quarterback, Coach. What Alabama State got out of their quarterback.
They got what they paid for. He was a freshman kid. They didn't want to put the game in his hands. They ran the ball a lot. Miles College is a D2 program. They're in the SIAC. So Miles College ended up beating them last year, but they made sure this year that wasn't going to happen. They jumped out fast and early on Miles, having 24-3 at halftime, and it kind of ended that way.
Yeah. So then we go down to Kentucky State and Alabama A&M. That is what it is.
Coach Maynard, he took advantage of Kentucky State. He tossed that ball all around the field and made sure he was trying to make a statement that don't count him out.
All right. Now, I was able to look in on this one, Coach, and though it was a D2, D1 matchup, this was an entertaining game, and I think I actually liked the style of play that Grambling had. Now, it was hard to tell anything through this because of the level of competition, but I thought Miles Crowley was outstanding. He was 16 for 26, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns. It don't get better than that, other than that night down in Mississippi Valley where you threw 6 touchdowns, Coach.
That's for sure. But four is a lot. Coach, he was getting it done. Grambling was really finding himself. I thought Coach Mickey Joseph and Coach Dooley, they done a good job of running the offense. They were able to execute. It could have got ugly, but they were smart enough to play people behind them, didn't want to get nobody hurt, and was getting ready for next week.
Now let me ask you this, Coach. We're going to have a quick conversation about this because I think this is something for me. You got to make this make sense to me, Coach, because I don't understand, because this don't make sense to me. Dooley came from Southern, where he had known as an offensive guru, goes to Southern and puts up 2 years of less than average scoring, less than average yard production. How can you explain that? And it seems like when he goes back to the job as an OC, his offense is back on track looking 2 games in. Can you give us an explanation as to why that is?
Well, some coaches do a great job of coaching good players. And then some guys, it's tough on developing players into great players. You know, it's about your system. Does your system fit your players? Or does the players fit the system? I think the system should fit your players. And when you understand that, you know, I had opportunity at Tennessee State, and I learned this early as an offensive coordinator, is I led the OVC 2 years straight in passing. We was averaging about 300 yards a game in passing, but we was averaging maybe 90 or 80 on rushing. And I went to go visit LSU and you know, a couple more people, but more so LSU. And he taught me, Coach Watts down there, and I learned from him that one thing they did evaluations on themselves. They scouted themselves. So I started scouting myself, number one. Number two is, are you getting to play the ball to your playmakers? That's number three. And number three, most of all, is, can you run the football? Can you close down games? It's so many times, guys, that you're watching football and you see all this spread and throwing and one back in there. And they up 2 touchdowns. Next thing you know, they down a touchdown. Then you know they up 4. They know the other team is throwing a Hail Mary to the end zone. That's because where's your 2-minute offense? Where's your 4-minute offense? So these coaches get in these situations. They come in with their offense, whether they got the players or not, and they want to put their offense in, but they don't have the personnel. You know, I don't know if that happened to Coach Dooley. I don't know. But he wasn't very successful at Southern. He's been successful everywhere else. But I also know that he's always had some great players. You know.
Now, let me ask you this. This is an interesting take by Ronald Hunt. Ronald says, I think Joseph, as a head coach, an offensive coach, is pulling Dooley's coattail. But here's what I said. The overwhelming experience related to play calling and play designing is with Dooley, isn't it, Coach?
Yeah. He's letting Dooley run his show. But, you know, Dooley got the best quarterback, preseason all-conference quarterback there. So there's some things that this kid can do that Dooley loved to do. And You know, my value on the Coach Duty, he likes to throw the ball downfield. He does like throw the field downfield. You know, a lot of post routes, a lot of sail routes that I call sail or big routes. You know, so those are things that he like to do, and this Miles Crowley kid can get that done. But we'll see as we go along and see how that works.
Now, this is an interesting game right here, Coach. We'll move on to Jackson State and Lane. And we're just going to peek into this for a little bit because we know what this was. This was a beatdown. And they say Lane got $90,000. So shout out to Lane.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this here, Coach.
I would like to see that with my eyes, but okay, if they say 90, we'll take 90.
So here's the deal, Coach. It looks like Jackson State came in, and I'll go back to the game cast so you can see the kind of how it all unfolded. They broke out a new quarterback in Jackson State, a more of a what I would consider a run-oriented quarterback, and boy, did he run! He had a 20-yard run. And then later he would have a 60-yard run, Coach. Now let me say this, Coach. For what you know about TC Taylor, does a running quarterback or a mobile? Hold on, let me get back to where I'm supposed to be. Does a running quarterback or a a dual threat quarterback fit TC Taylor's system as you know it?
Well, this is TC Taylor second time being an offensive coordinator. He was offensive coordinator at North Carolina Central, where they threw the ball around and ran the ball a little bit. They were more base. Here, I guess he's making an adjustment. I don't see that, but I think he's making an adjustment. Or maybe this kid just dropped back and seen things that happened and was be able to, find the holes. And maybe Lane was playing a lot of man coverage where the quarterback had to get out of there. So I'm looking to see down the line, down the road. You can't really give this game a lot of thought. I mean, it was 48-0 in the first quarter. I don't think nothing went well for Lane, besides that they showed up and picked up a check.
And let me ask you this here, Coach. If you were doing a game-to-game evaluation this game, and you say you went with the other guy, are you giving both quarterbacks equal looks? If one guy had to play a Division 1A school and the other kid got to play a D2 school, to me that doesn't seem like an apples to apples comparison. What about you?
Ain't no question. I just never got into playing two quarterbacks. One is always going to be, to me, better than the other. Or once you make up your mind and you go with it. I don't know, Coach. Coaching the quarterback position, me playing the position, I think I got a more insight on what a quarterback should be and what it's about and what do you need from that position than some of them. You got to look at the plays you call. Why the kid wasn't successful? Did the receiver slip? Did the line block? Is he looking the right way? Is he reading the right guy? And you just want a guy that's consistently can do that. You know what I mean? Then can he extend plays? You know what I mean? Because that's where the athletic ability comes in. So I don't know why when I see some of these teams and why they choose the quarterback they choose, I don't know. But I'm going to choose the one who can get it done. And I'm going to get that ball to him and give him an opportunity to lose the job. You know what I'm saying? And I got to be honest with myself of, are we doing the right things up front? Are we running the right plays in the back? Because the run game opens the pass game. If you don't have a good run game, you're going to make pressure on the pass game. So then when you get a game like Jackson State playing Lane and you don't sit the one kid on the bench, quite naturally, other kid gonna come in and be successful. But is he the right guy? But I wouldn't base it off that type of game.
Now here's another situation, Coach. Man, I don't want to go into this game. This game right here is what it is, Coach. Texas Southern didn't have a very good showing. In no way did they.
How much money did that cost? I don't even know why they play Rice.
Yeah, and Rice really. It looked like Rice really rubbed it in on him, Coach. Really rubbed it in.
It was 58 something in the third. Now, who you gonna recruit in Houston, Texas? Nor around Houston, Texas.
Man.
Now you got beat by Rice, who's an academic school, 69-70. Last year they beat you 50 something. So if I'm a kid that got something about me academically, where am I gonna go? If I'm playing a football player. I think it was embarrassing. I think they had a running clock at the end, which is embarrassing for a 1AA program. Playing, a school that's not a perennial winner. But we not gonna get on that. Coach Dishman had done a great job of beating the school he's supposed to beat, and that was Prairie View. It's just fortunate this game got out of hand. It's like we couldn't stop them. Whatever they did was successful.
Let me it's just tough, Coach. I don't think there's any benefit to Texas Southern playing Rice. It's not a far enough away game. They probably give you 35. They could take an Uber to the game. You know what I
mean? And get some change and tip
matter of fact, I'd like to see what kind of kickback the administrators get for taking that game, to be honest with you.
If it ain't over 500,000, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah, man, I agree. Now, Coach, this year is interesting. Like these next two games are gonna be similar to the Jackson State game, and I'll explain why. Shortly. Southern plays McNeese. Noah Bodden starts, right?
Right.
They come into this game with a new quarterback, a freshman quarterback from Scotlandville, which is 5 minutes from campus. And Coach, he lights it up.
Left-handed kid.
T-set, yes.
Yeah.
He lights it up. He not only lights it up in the passing game, but he looks like he's pretty mobile, Coach. If you watch him play. Yeah. So my question to you, Coach, do you evaluate Bodden of how he played against McNeese? And do you evaluate T-set based on how he played against Savannah State? How do you do an equal or apples to apples evaluation on these two quarterbacks when the level of competition is way different? Or is it with McNeese?
You don't, Coach. You're fishing. You still don't know who's gonna be your quarterback, and you still don't know why. And ain't nobody looking in the mirror and says us. Us mean coaching. You got to see what you're doing offensively. Are you putting in too much? Are you asking the kid too much? Is your offensive line good? How really good is your wide receiver? What is our best position on our offense? And a lot of times it's easy to blame it on the quarterback that he's not getting it done. When really, when you got to look at yourself in the mirror as a coach and see, are we doing the best thing for this kid to be our starter? I just don't blame it on the players. I look at it starts from the coaching room.
Yeah, Coach. So you agree with me? Anything that you decide based on these two games is not fair.
Throw it out the window, Coach, with the baby. Just throw it out the window.
So now this situation coming up, when you talk about Prairie View, I think it's just a little different. They went into this game with a different quarterback against Northwestern, right? But it's a 1AA school, right? Is that an apples to apples comparison when looking at the quarterback position?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, Northwestern is one of the worst teams in the Southland Conference. It's been that way for a while. It's a big win for Prairie View. I think it's a great game to have where you get your team back going. Good measuring stick. you know, of the game. So I think you should get a lot out of this game. A lot out of it.
Now the thing about this game,
And Coach, I'm sorry, it's not in your state. Win, lose, or draw, you okay in that area.
okay. Here's my deal about this guy, Cam Peters, who was a good quarterback coming out of junior college, right? He was a good quarterback, highly talented quarterback. And the best thing about him was, after looking at him play, I don't think his play was spectacular, but he was able to get the ball to the playmakers, Coach. And Javon, you can say what you want, Shamar Savage and Trejon Spiller are two of the more explosive players in the SWAC, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But what I'll say this, Coach, it's an apple to apples comparison. You can look and see there's a drastic difference in quarterback play, but you still played a guy who threw 2 picks. Do you weigh the production against the picks in evaluating how you move forward? And also, Coach, I want you to answer this one too. How can you go through a whole camp and get to the point where you end up starting the wrong guy? Like, I don't understand that, Coach, for any of these teams.
Yeah, well, you know, that's where the egotistical things fall in place at. And that's where some coordinators get angry at the kid because he can't run his offense. But instead of taking your offense and basing it around the talent that you have, those are things that happens, man. And it's unfortunate for the kid that he's the one to get the finger pointed at.
Yeah. I you know, it's just crazy to me. Now he says, is there a such thing? Now this is, Coach, me and you talked about this briefly when discussing the situation with and by the way, we're getting a few more viewers, so I'm assuming the debate is just about finished. Y'all tell us in the chat who won the debate, because me and Coach been giving an education in football. But y'all let us know who won the debate, because we know y'all been watching.
Hey, Coach, my brother they've been texting me the whole debate. So I think Kamala Harris been wearing his tail out like we thought.
Hey, so Coach, and this is something me and you talked about on the phone when evaluating the situation that was going on with Andrew Body. Is there a such thing as a practice player, Coach, versus a gamer? Like, what is that? How do you evaluate that?
I don't think it is. I think just one player is good at what he can do. You know, if you're a good player, you're a good player, whether you're in helmet, shoulder pads, or not. You know, I put that on me. If my quarterback is not being successful, I put that on me. All right. Now, if he's doing knucklehead stuff, like throwing interceptions, just clear interceptions, making false reads, can't explain himself on the sideline, don't know the plays. You know what I'm saying? That's on me. That's on me. Now, if I'm watching film and the kid run a bad route, okay, kid slip, offensive line is questionable. If the offensive line is questionable, then I need to do some things to get the ball out the quarterback's hand. You know, all that takes part in deciding who's your trigger man. Is there such thing as a gamer? You know, to be honest, Rocky, I don't like a scrambling quarterback. I didn't like what's the kid went to Atlanta? Michael Vick. I remember when Mike Vick came out, I was in a restaurant talking with a defensive coordinator. We were out recruiting, and he's telling me how Michael Vick gonna come in and set things on fire. And we went back and forth, and I'm like, because see, my quarterback, my head coach, who coached in the pros, if I third down and long, if I didn't try to find somebody, or if I just took off running thinking I'm gonna get the first down, he would wear me out. He would wear me out. He said, well, that's what defenses want you to do. They want you to run the ball. All right. Michael Vick had a great career. Did he ever win a Super Bowl? Did he ever even get there?
Well, Coach, I'll say this, Coach. Now, I went back and done my research. We talked about some of your great quarterbacks, Darnell Kennedy.
Yes.
What's the guy from Pittsburgh that played for TSU? There are highlights on him as well.
Leon Murray.
Leon Murray. Those guys could get busy, Coach, with their feet. They could get busy.
Yes. Yes.
You just didn't want them getting busy.
They could extend plays. There's a difference between get busy and extending plays. Leon Murray was not just a sprinter. He was an athlete. Darnell Kennedy the same way. He could extend plays. But when you come down, and that's what happens to our African-American quarterbacks, but it's getting better and it has changed a whole bunch where they would drop back, scramble all around the field, outrun everybody and score touchdowns. Everybody like, hey. But then when you come back and watch film on Monday, hell, he don't pass up 7 guys that's been open. He just taking off on his own. Well, then I would get in his ass. I would when we're practicing, Coach, I'll be sitting behind the quarterback. If he drops back, I'm looking at what he's looking at. If he don't hit that receiver, sometime I have ran and tackled the quarterback physically. And like, what are you looking at? Throw the ball. Take your reads. Let the ball go. If you throw an interception, that's on me. You see what I'm saying? So it's just so much of going in the quarterback, and sometimes guys fall in get seduced by talent. You got to produce on the football field. So that makes it tough, Coach. That makes it tough. You got to coach him. You as a coach, you can coach on every down. And if you don't correct him in practice and don't correct him when he scrum around and throw it a 90-yard bomb, when the guy was open once he got the snap, you're not coaching him right. You're not coaching him right.
Hey, Coach, let me go to these last couple games, and then we can wrap it up and get out of here, and we can listen to the debate on who won. But Coach, it's just puzzling to me, Coach, that guys can go, that coaches, men, professionals, can go through spring and go through fall camp and end up starting the wrong guy. You know, last 3 actually, Mississippi Valley and Lamar. I could have won some money on this game because Lamar was like a 40-point favorite, and Mississippi Valley only lost by 14. I find that surprising. I don't think Lamar is very good.
No, they middle of the road in the South.
And then Alcorn has started the season out against 2 money games. I really have no concept of who they have at quarterback. You know, they just haven't looked good, Coach. And hopefully, with the game they got next, we'll be able to figure out. And then this here, Arkansas Pine Bluff played Arkansas Baptist Elementary, and they put it on. I watched Arkansas Pine Bluff against Arkansas. They looked like a little league team against Arkansas, but then they found somebody else they could beat up on just the same.
Arkansas Baptist is almost like a club team. I know the head coach. I know the head coach over there. You know,
okay,
all they do is give kids opportunity to play.
Okay, Coach, we're gonna race through this because this is another batch of money games coming up. Anything you want to talk about, we can stop. We got Prairie View traveling to Michigan State. We got Bethune-Cookman traveling to Western Michigan. We got Mississippi Valley and Murray State. Does that intrigue you at all, Coach?
Not at all. Division 1A program, they'll get after Mississippi Valley State.
All right. What about this one, Coach? Alabama State and Sanford taking a freshman quarterback over to Sanford.
I just don't see Alabama State winning. I just don't lost. I tell you, man, they all broke my heart, Coach. Now, I thought they were ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully their defense can hold them together because offensively they're going to struggle all year.
And then the Southern Heritage Classic, we got
this game,
Arkansas Pine Bluff stepping in for Jackson State against Tennessee State. How you see this one going, Coach?
This ain't about Arkansas Pine Bluff. This game is a show about how good Tennessee State is. Eddie George is coming on his last year in his contract. They got a lot of gimme games. This is one of the gimme games. We'll see how that goes.
Hey, on the next game, Coach, I'm gonna give you a storyline. Both of these games, both of these teams think they found their quarterback in a D2 game. A game against a D2 opponent. One against Savannah State, the other against Lane. Coach, who at the end of the day, which team actually found their quarterback?
We'll see on Saturday. We'll see on Saturday.
I mean, I have to take Jackson State because now here's another thing I wanted to point out, Coach. Jackson State's played ULM
right.
Fairly competitive. Right. Turns out ULM ain't as bad as we thought because they went and thrashed somebody. Let me go look. I'm going to tell you who they thrashed because ULM put it on somebody this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah. They put it on UAB.
Okay.
32-6.
Wow.
Now, Coach, does that change how you look at this loss by Jackson State?
Gotta be. UAB is supposed to be pretty good. They're coached by what's the quarterback? Trent Difford. Yeah, they've been doing some special things around there. That's a big win, but for ULM. So that does say a little bit about Jackson State. I know this. Southern's defense is stout. They pretty good.
Okay. And it looks like they're pretty fast, Coach. Scotty mentioned that on his show, and he said the defense looks really fast, really athletic over Jackson. But I still got to take Jackson State at home. Who you got, Coach?
I'm going to go with Jackson State at home.
All right. So, in this game right here, Alcorn State hosts Edward Waters. Are they trying to get on track here? What are they trying to do here against Edward Waters, Coach?
Well, the kid that's the head coach of Edward Waters played for me. He got him going over there at Edward Waters. I don't think you can sleep on him. But I'm going to get Alcorn the edge by 7.
Okay. I agree with you there, Coach. And this is an interesting matchup. I have no idea what to think about this game right here.
But let me tell you about Texas A&M Commerce.
Uh-huh.
Their offensive line coach was my offensive line coach at Texas Southern, and we average about 175 yards a game. If they're not prepared to stop the run, it would be a long night for Grambling. But it's a Division II program, 36 scholarships to Graham's 63. Crowley got to play big because most of the time he'll be on the sideline.
Now let me ask you this here, Coach. How often does a school like Grambling travel to a D2?
That's questionable, ain't it? I don't even know how you take that game or took the game. I don't even know how the 2 came. I don't even see how it's good for either team. But
hey, Coach, I'm gonna make a correction here. Commerce has come up to Division I AA. They're not a D2 anymore. They're Division I AA. And it looks like they're in that conference with Stephen F. Hoffman making the Southland Conference. Southland Conference. So.
Well, as I say, it's going to be a tough game, because I was thinking of Texas A&I, but this is Texas Commerce. Like I said, I know the offensive line coach down there. I'll get a little early sneak scouting report, but I know one thing: they can run the football.
Yeah. So we'll get a look at that. Who you gonna pick, Coach? You didn't hemmed in hard long enough. Who you got on this, Coach?
I got Commerce by 3.
Okay. And I'm gonna take Grambling. I think Miles Crawley gonna light them up along with those wide receivers. I got Grambling, Coach. And then our last game of the week, I have no idea what Georgetown, Kentucky is. Is this a game that Alabama A&M should handle?
Yeah, D2. I think in Alabama should come out. I got Alabama by A&M by 10.
Okay, Coach. That's a good. Hey, Coach, this has been another great show, man. If you guys didn't get a chance, we had a great coach from Division II, Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri. Coach Moses Harper, a former protege of Coach Cole. He did a great job in the interview. Like I say, if you didn't get a chance to see the interview, go back to the very beginning of this video, and you'll be able to watch it out, Coach. Anything you want to leave them with before you get out of here, Coach?
Oh man, Coach, we missed it. We missed the debate, but I got all my texts that Kamala Harris had a great debate. I'm looking forward to listen to all the commentary around it. This was a great show as always and very informative. Again, I can't say enough about you. Can't say enough about the people who listen to our channel. Once again, we're looking forward to next week, man, to talk about what has happened.
All right, Coach. Take us out, Coach.
Hey, guys. Again, great show. Thank you guys for continuing to watch us. Pass this on. Make sure you share this. Continue to support us because we want to do big things for you. We want to bring HBCU football into your living room and actually where you can actually get to see what goes on behind closed doors. But as I always say, man, earlier when Coach was asking me about me sharing my knowledge and why I don't charge or whatever, I have enough. I'm good. I have one car and have a bed to sleep in and a job to go to and got a great family and great support. So that's good enough. But that's more than any dollar that I can have. So when you feel yourself in a bad situation, there's always somebody worse. So again, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot, hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.